Okay, now we need to talk about, well, again, multiplying, but for some reason we think this is something different, and it's really not. When we see something being squared, you know, you can't just automatically square each one of the terms. That is not the proper way to do it. In fact, it's the wrong answer. But you need to go back to what does it mean to square something? Squaring something means that you multiply it to itself. So to figure out what this would be, we literally need to write it out twice and multiply it to itself. Now there are all kinds of shortcuts and things like that that people try to use, but until you are very, very good at this, it is much better for you just to write it out and multiply. Okay, so now let's do our distribution, which is what we should do here. 1 times 1 would be 1. 1 times square root of 3 would be the square root of 3. And then when we distribute our square root of 3, we have the square root of 3 times 1 is the square root of 3. And the square root of 3 times the square root of 3 is the square root of 9. Now we can start simplifying and hopefully combining like terms. So let's see, 1 is good. The square root of 3 plus the square root of 3, those are like terms that we can combine. That would be plus 2 square roots of 3. And then here we have the square root of 9. Well, this is a perfect square. The square root of 9 is 3. Now we're not done because we can actually go ahead and combine like terms again. We have a 1 and a 3, so that would be 4 plus 2 square roots of 3. This is our final answer. We can't combine anything further. We can't simplify anything further. But that is quite a bit of difference between just squaring the 1 and squaring the radical 3. So don't make that mistake. Let's try another one. Here we have this one that says the square root of z plus the square root of 5 squared. So again, if we write this out and multiply it to itself, square root of z plus the square root of 5. We're going to distribute first. So distributing, the square root of z times the square root of z is the square root of z squared. Remember, you're just multiplying the radical parts, that's all. Square root of z times the square root of 5 would be the square root of 5z. Continuing to distribute, the square root of 5 times the square root of z would be the square root of 5 times z. And the square root of 5 times the square root of 5 would be the square root of 25. Now we can start simplifying and combining like terms. The square root of z squared, those will undo each other. We're just left with z plus, if you've got, these are the exact same radicands, so we can put them together. You've got one of these square roots plus another one of these square roots would be 2 square roots of 5z. And then we have plus, the square root of 25 is 5. So again, we can't combine anything further because we don't have like terms. But if we had just squared the z and squared the 5, we would not have gotten the correct answer. So you must write it out twice and multiply it to itself.